Hello, I am Dr. Laura Enfield, and this is a talk that I did for the Rodin Foundation. It's called The Magic of Homeopathy. So let's dive in. So, the birth of homeopathy was in the 1700s, developed by Samuel Hahnemann, this gentleman here. He was a German physician that was disillusioned by standards of care at the time. So during the 1700s, they were doing bloodletting, leeches, medicines that were made from mercury, lead, arsenic, and different strong herbs that were very either toxic or that what they were trying to do was purge the body of those foreign disease-causing matter. And he was not on board with that. And through his own thinking and working with another other doctors' studies, he developed homeopathy, and he has coined the terms the law of similars, homeopathy, and allopathy. So homeopathy is treating along with, treating like treats like, and allopathy means treating against. So allopathy would be like using an antibiotic against the bugs, for example. So the first homeopathic remedy was discovered, and this was done because he read a translation of William Cullen's book on treating malaria. And Cullen had claimed that cinchona, which is Peruvian bark, was effective at treating malaria due to the bitter and astringent quality. But Hahnemann wondered, well, why would this specific herb be that way? Because there's other herbs that are also bitter and astringent. There's something more with that. And so he started thinking about using what would happen if you had this herb cinchona and took it, and maybe that would create the similar symptoms to malaria. And this is where he came up with the idea of like cures like through his experimentation of working with that herb. So once he did this experiment, he spent the next 6 years experimenting on himself, his family, and then a group of followers, recording all the symptoms from each substance. So basically, he was testing plants, minerals, and chemicals on healthy volunteers. What they would do is they would take a small dose of these substances, and then they would write down what their either physical, mental, emotional changes were occurring by taking these small doses. And so they would slowly increase the dosage to see, okay, what are the changes that are happening? What are these symptoms? So as recording all of these, those were then called the true effects. And that is what created that materia medica. So basically, what would happen then, that substance would create these types of symptoms. And then, but if you used a diluted portion of that herb or substance, whatever the substance was, it would also treat the the same symptoms that it would cause in excess. And so he wrote about this published article in the Hoofland Journal. And so this is when homeopathy was really developed in 1796. After that, it just started spreading through Europe with medical doctors, and eventually it came to the United States in 1825. So in the US, medical doctors took up the practice, preferring this more gentle therapy because really there are not minimal to no side effects from using homeopathic remedies. And interestingly, in 1835, which was about 10 years after it came to the United States, the first homeopathic medical school was founded in Pennsylvania. And then in the mid 19th century, homeopathy was a major medical movement. By the late 19th century, there were over 20 homeopathic medical schools and 100 hospitals, and it was influencing public health and medical education as well. It was pretty popular and powerful movement in the United States. In 1844, the American Institute of Homeopathy was formed, and this was the first medical association that was created in the United States. And then 2 years later, in 1846, the American Medical Association formed in response to the American Institute of Homeopathy. And as a result of the AMA, they purged all local medical societies of homeopaths. And then many of you may have heard of the Flexner Report, which was in 1910. So the Carnegie Foundation backed the Flexner Report, which also included Rockefeller money. And that what they did then was condemn the homeopathic medical schools, and they said it was due to their training methods. As a result, the number of schools, hospitals, and practitioners significantly declined. So let's talk about how does homeopathy work. The remedies are chosen based on the ability to match and mimic symptoms that a person is having. It's going to go with the body's healing ability versus against, like I mentioned, antibiotics. And the symptoms are the body's defenses. So that's the body telling us this is what's going on, this is how we need to help. And so what we want to do is support the body's defenses, that physiology, rather than suppress them. Allopathic medicine, antibiotics are suppressing the symptoms. And what happens when we suppress is that's going to push them deeper into the body, and that can cause more severe and chronic issues. And I do see that in my practice. The more you do it, the more severe the issues will become. Homeopathy is a energetic medicine. So here you can see these different pictures. The on the right, we have the body meridians, energy flowing through the body based on the Chinese medicine paradigm. On the left, there's auric fields. We have the chakras based on the Ayurvedic study. So the remedies in homeopathic medicine are working on the physical, the mental, emotional, and spiritual levels, on all levels. And what's going to do is affect the subtle energy field. So whether you call that chi, prana, vital force, or life energy, it's going to really support that energetic aspect, not only the physical aspect. So it's a very powerful medicine. The remedies interact and restore the body's biofield. So we have these electromagnetic frequencies that are surrounding our body, and included in that are biophotons, and there's vibrational information. This goes all the way from our external to our internal, and this helps to regulate the physiology, our emotions, and also energetic functions. Homeopathic remedies are very gentle. They provide harmonious energy patterns and help correct any disruptions that are caused by stress, illness, or trauma. It helps bring the body's energy back into a healthy, balanced state. And the energy of the remedy resonates with the body's own energy. So basically, it's encouraging that self-healing and balance on a deeper level beyond just that physical or chemical aspect. So supplements, for example, are pretty much just working at a physical or chemical aspect. Homeopathic remedies are going to have a much deeper and longer lasting effect. How are the remedies made? Well, they make serial dilutions. So there are two common dilutions that are done. 10 dilution to the 10. These are the X remedies. So you would do 1 part and 9 parts water, or water and alcohol. Or there are the C remedies, which is 100 dilution, and that would be 1 part and 99 parts water or alcohol. The dilutions have no remaining material substance starting at a 12C. So that would be a 12C 100 dilution. Lower dilutions have some remaining molecules. And it's basically you get past Avogadro's number, which you see here is 6.02 times 10 to the 23rd. And that's when there's no remaining material substance. But even the ones that do have some remaining material is very, very minute and not enough. It's obviously not like a physical substance like a supplement or vitamin, mineral, herb. So here's just a picture of the dilution. You can see first you could do a 1 to 10 and then 1 to 100, 1 to 1,000. So that would be that. Or on the right, you see the C dilution as well. And then once the remedies are diluted, they're succussed. So what this means is they are basically energized. So they take the remedy, and it's basically, if you can see me in my picture, you're taking the remedy and pounding it on your hand. And this is the magic because this is potentizing or potentizing the medication, the medicine. It energizes a solution. It basically is releasing that vibrational power, kind of like this picture of the body. And these are the different ways that remedies are delivered. They can be, you might have seen the blue tubes in the pharmacy or like at the drugstores, health food stores. So that's one way. Those are pellets. The Unda numbers are liquid combination remedies. That's what I use in my clinic. There's another company called Professional Formulas, and they make a lot of different homeopathic remedies, also liquid. You might have seen Traumeal. This is a topical, great for any joint pain. So they can be as a topical agent. And then the bottom two, you probably, especially the Acylococcinum, you've seen even at Trader Joe's, they have that. Mucococcinum is something that I carry in the office for flu. So there's a lot of different ways to administer the homeopathic remedies. So when are we to use homeopathic remedies at home? Because this is a very easy way to help support your body and has virtually no side effects. My answer is anytime. It's great for acute cases, colds, flu, sore throat, bug bites, poison oak, digestive issues, anything, you name it. We could pretty much find a remedy for whatever's going on. It's safe to use throughout pregnancy, so it can be really wonderful at helping support that whole pregnancy from the first trimester all the way through the third trimester, depending upon what symptoms they're having. You can use a remedy for that. Any bumps and bruises, musculoskeletal issues, breaks, strains, it's going to really support your body in the healing. I've used it in where patients have had broken bones, and it helps speed up that healing and actually helps the body heal better than without. You can also use it for your pets. Pets respond quite well to homeopathic remedies. And then also you can use it in chronic cases. So I'm using it in my practice, and I use it for all levels of concerns, whether it's mental, emotional, spiritual, physical, any of those. And you can use it for any of those reasons at home as well. You may need some guidance on how to choose the correct remedy for those, but they are just really great to have around. And then for potency selection, how it works is the higher the dilution, the stronger the potency. So low potencies deal with more of that physical symptoms or concerns. So when you're at the health food store, you might see a 6C, a 6X, and those are going to address local symptoms. So like you have a bruise, you got a bee sting, something like that. That's a great potency to get. If you might see a 9C, 12C, or 12X, that's going to be a little bit more of the general symptoms, could be muscle aches and pains. The 30C and 30X are going to be even more general complex symptoms. So these can be great when you have a sick, chills, fever, sore throat, something to that effect, or maybe you're having sleep issues, feeling agitated. So any of those potencies are really going to work well and be helpful. Those are good remedies to have at home. The higher potencies are going to deal more with mental emotional concerns. I recommend that you work with a trained practitioner if you are going to use any of those remedies. And the outcomes, typically there are no side effects, especially when using the lower potencies. If you have the wrong remedy, there's no effect. And if you have the wrong remedy, you're not going to have effect, so you wouldn't continue taking it. So my rule of thumb, if you don't notice any changes after the first hour of taking the remedy, it's not the right choice. So then you would just need to choose a new one based on your symptoms and the repertory of the remedies. Typical dosage when for an acute case would be 3 to 5 pellets every 15 minutes for that first hour, and then you can take as needed. This is where I was talking about if you don't notice any improvement in that first hour of taking it, then just discontinue that remedy. You can also take the remedy based on symptoms. So if the symptoms starts to return, you can take another dosage of the remedy. You could also make your own remedy, which this is something that I love, and I have done it in my practice. I've had patients do it. So I have a few examples. One, I had a patient that was severely allergic to dogs. Her sister had a dog, and she wanted to be able to go to holidays, gatherings, family gatherings at her sister's house because she tended to host the events more. And I had her bring in some of the dog's fur, and then I made the remedy in my office and then gave her the remedy to take, diluting it past the number where there was actual physical molecules in it. And this really helped her be able to participate in her family's events. Another patient I had was sensitive to her electric car. Every time she would get into her car, she would just feel horrible. And so what we did for her was we took a blank bottle, which is basically you could do like a 25 to 35% alcohol bottle. And then we had her set it in the car for 24 hours. And then after that, every time she got into it, she would succuss it. So she would tap it on her hand 10, 20 times and then take the drops. And this really helped her be able to be in the car with minimal to no effects. So pretty much anything could be made into a remedy. My mentor had a patient that was sensitive to electromagnetic frequencies in his home. So they made a remedy just by setting it in the home, and he would take it every time he walked into his home. And that really made a difference. This is actually very empowering for yourself. The main thing that for some things you do need to dilute, for example, the dog allergy, you don't want to give yourself the allergen if you are very allergic to it. And remedies can change biomarkers. They have done studies where they've seen changes in oxidative stress markers, they've seen cortisol levels improve, even changing the expressions of genes and modulating them. And they've also seen telomere length and telomerase activity. So telomeres are the ends of the chromosome. You see that middle picture with the green ends. Those are the telomeres. And these slowly degrade as we age. And so if we're supporting the body, then that's going to really support the telomeres not breaking down so much. And they've seen changes in brain function, so sensitizing or regulating the nervous system, which is pretty cool. I mean, the remedies, even though there's nothing in them, in quotes, air quotes, they are actually quite powerful. And this is the magic of homeopathy. So if we understand that the human body is energetic and the physical form is embedded within and inseparable from that dynamic, intelligent field of energy and information, using these remedies will make a significant impact on our bodies and our lives. They're very gentle but powerful, and they access that field. It basically starts that cascade of healing. It's going to trigger on the energetic and work all the way into the physical, helping support the physiology of the body, which is true healing in my perspective. So that is the end of this presentation. I hope that you have enjoyed it and have gotten some information out of that. And if you would like any more information, feel free to call my office or do some research online. Thank you.